All right, now we're going to get the clock out. Obviously the condenser is connected to ground. We'll send that with it. So the clock guy knows that there's a condenser on it. It might be bad, and you never know.
So he can hook up 12 volts to that, and that'll reduce it to the right
12 volt, negative ground. It's falling apart.
These ever go bad?
I had one on a R-type, not bad. It was causing the battery to go dead because that's voltage supply at all times, and that thing was getting hot.
The plates would short out, yes. Yeah. This
All right.
would be a good time to replace it.
Yeah. There are two screws to hold the clock in. This is the clock in the center, and they are out here. One of them holds the little spring clip that holds the condenser. As you can see, that's the spring clip the condenser slides into. And here's the other screw. And there you go. That's a cute clock. I like that.
Yeah. Is that company still in business?
Smith's? I don't know. Whatever you do, this is, I learned the hard way. Don't try to clean up the face of that. Don't touch it. Because this paint is not always permanent. I've taken before and I thought, oh, a little water, and it just smeared. So don't touch those things. Don't touch the arms. If you have any of your gauges, one thing I've done in the past where the paint will peel off, I don't think you have any, on the needles, white out, just get in there and dab it on there, and it'll be fine. But you don't want to touch the face of those. Leave that to the professionals. Okay, there's that. Here's your speedometer. So the speedometer has the same kind of ring for the glass, as you can see there. Hopefully it'll come off easier. I wanted to show you the inner workings of this since we're doing this on film. See how that's normally how they come out, because the rubber's all dried, and this actually has a piece of paper in here, I think. Okay. So I guess that other one didn't want to come out just so we had more drama. There are four screws here that hold the mechanism in there. Little slotted screws. And this right here, failing could actually cause the clock to fail early, because if this doesn't do its job, it's going to create more arcing on the points and make them fail sooner.
And you should really replace capacitors anyway when you got a chance, because they do go bad. A little dielectric between the plates will go and short out, just like you say.
Okay. Here's your speedometer. Now, I don't know if we're going to be able to get all this, but let me reorient myself. You can see this right here is what connects to the speedometer cable. It's a big ring that actually goes around the outside of this, and I think it's magnetic. Yeah. So that's what makes the needle move. There's nothing touching physically. Right? So is this, well, there is actually. This ring right here has gear teeth on the outside which hook into your odometers. You see there's one shaft here that has two gears on the ends, and they're separate items.
Yeah.
So as you're driving along, this thing is spinning, and it turns this thing, and inside they have little index notches that once it comes around, the first one comes around to the zero again, it kicks the other one, and so on and so forth down the line. And inside they have their own little pot metal gears. You can see the gears right there for that. They have little gears in there.
Do we know which side is the odometer and which one's the tripometer?
Well, that's pretty easy when you flip it over.
Oh, okay.
This only has 3 digits plus a point, and this has, what, 5 digits, so it's made to go to 100,000 and
The
start.
bottom, the top one is the one that has some strict gears now.
So
We can't see
the
the
trip
gears.
odometer doesn't work, or the regular odometer?
This one doesn't, the odometer.
No, you cannot see it until you take it apart. And what they'll do when they get in there is you can take this little plate here, you can pull out the shaft, you can pull the numbers out, and then you get into all those gears, and you'll see they're pot metal, and the gears go bad. That's what happens usually.
Now, they'll replace them all, won't they?
Not necessarily. They'll replace the bad one. That's between you and him.
Yeah, but, question, if one goes, doesn't the other ones eventually go too? Or
Well, generally the ones that do the most work are going to go. If you think about it, this last one doesn't turn very often, every 10,000 miles.
Right.
This one turns every mile, and so on and so forth down the line. So I would think that the wear is most likely where, on these, the right-hand numbers more. And plus, when you go over the 000, like when you hit 90,000, you're turning over 5 numbers at once. So that's when they can fail, especially if they're not serviced on a regular basis, which who knows the last time this thing was apart. And the grease and the lubricant they use on those things, it just dries up after 55 years. And they'll fail when they get older. Unless you take them apart, say, every 10 years and have them serviced. Which, you can see this is a mechanical device. There's lots of metal parts that need lubrication, and they will dry up also.
So it's not an indication that this has got a whole bunch of miles on it. It's just that it hasn't been driven a lot. Maybe that's dried up the lubricant, that it's not working.
Right.
Okay.
Actually, the ones that are driven more probably do better because everything's moving all the time. Just like your body.
Yeah, and this car in the last 10 years has hardly been driven.
Do any of the numbers turn over, or it's just completely dead?
Well, it stops after one of the gears fails. It's not going to do it anymore.
The tripometer works fine, it's the odometer.
Yeah, but do any of the numbers on the odometer turn
No.
over? Oh, okay. So it's probably the gear leading into the whole thing.
Well, they're connected together,
Right.
so they'll have a notch, probably by the 0 or whatever, so that when the one next to it, this one goes around all the way, it catches that next one and pushes it one.
Yeah, what I'm
And then it goes-
saying, though, is since none of the numbers turn at all, it must be whatever is driving the very
The very first one.
first
More
one.
than likely the very
Yeah.
first one, yeah.
Which you can't see until you get it apart.
A lot of people, when they restore a car, do a ground up or whatever, do a complete restoration. They'll set them to 0. But generally what happens is they'll set it to what it was. They'll run it 10, 15 miles on their machine to make sure it works. And so it'll have a few more miles on it. So as you can see, these are the little light indicators. You can clean those up too if you want when you have it apart. They have little rubber boots that go up against here so they don't shine onto any of the other parts. You got to line those up when you put them back together. I took this apart so you guys could see the inside.
Well, what surprised me, and I'm glad you did, I thought there'd be more parts, more mechanism inside. It looks relatively simple inside. Very
Well,
basic.
it is. It's straightforward.
Yeah. I thought there'd be more to it.
Later cars have electronic speedometers, so they'll have, like these have sending units that transmit or transform mechanical energy into electrical signal. The electronic speedometers have the same thing. They have a transducer which generates an AC voltage, which they send up to the speedometer with wiring instead of a cable, and there'll be little motors that turn the speedo needle and also the odometers, or they'll just have one that turns everything. I send those out all the time to fix them because they have plastic gears that break. There are no plastic gears in this.
Now,
Now,
are these parts interchangeable with others, or they're hard to get the gears for this thing? Hard to
it's
say.
just getting hard to get them. These, I don't know. I haven't sent one of these out in a while. I know the earlier cars, the pre-war cars, if it stops, sometimes that's it. Now, gears can be made for cost, but sometimes a gear manufacturer might charge you $600-700 to make a tiny little gear. Most people say screw you. But if you want to fix it, that's your only option, unless you can find a used one. There are fewer used parts, especially the pre-wars out there.
Most speedometer repair places, they don't take it out of the car for you. You got to give them out of the car, right?
Well, it depends on the place, yeah. Locally, there's Gales, which is in Costa Mesa. That's who I send my stuff to. Except for the old stuff, they can't deal with that. And like I said, I haven't done one in a long time, so.
Is that where you recommend this goes?
This? No. I don't know who to send this to. Sherry knows somebody up in the valley area that
I
does.
found a place on Lancashire that said they could do this.
Okay. If you found a place, use them. Because my guy, he doesn't like these old ones. So. Let's see, where did that? I'm gonna keep these where it is. Try to put them back in. That's what I'll do.
Oh, that was just the holder for the capacitor?
Mm-hmm. What I'm doing is just putting the screws back in their home so they don't get lost. If I can, this is the easy one. There we go. And I'll show you guys a little trick for tiny screws. Put them back in. Except I put that in the way, but at least it holds it till you get it there.
Why would you use that opposed to your special?
Because that special thing won't fit in this tiny screw.
Okay. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's it.